everybody. Welcome back. Next up, we have Miraz Haq with delivering commerce performance through platforms. So Miraz, take it away.
Hey everyone, my name is Miraz Haik and I'm a senior solution consultant in Adobe based in Melbourne, Australia. So I'm going to talk you through the delivering commerce performance through the platform. Okay, so let's get it started. So what I really mean by the performance and all of that, so every interactions that it starts with your customers as being a dev or as being a merchant. So at the end of the day, when your customers are actually interacting on your website, buying a product, buying a brand, what they're actually buying is the experience from you. Okay, because often when you actually go into a website, buy a product, you want to come back into that website again just because you had an awesome and amazing experience through the platform, right? And then if you had issues with loading of the site, the menus are not correct, the features are not correct, then probably you don't want to come back. So experience at the end of the day, that's really what glues you between your customer and your brand. And as being a dev, that's actually is the heart of that, because for us, when we need to develop something, we also need to consider the performance of delivering all these experiences that's going on the site. Okay, so as for today's platform, you are on the commerce session, but what I want to talk about is really delivering the performance through the platform. And what I really mean by the platform is the Adobe Experience Cloud platform, right? So as part of that, we actually have multiple capabilities or multiple solutions which forms the Adobe Experience Cloud. So as you can see, the Adobe Commerce is part of the content and commerce, right? But then we also have the other capabilities inside the data activations, the customer journeys, and we of course have the capabilities outside of the Experience Cloud, which is everyone knows, like the Adobe Photoshop, which is part of the Creative Cloud. So as for today, what I want to show you is if you are building an experience for your customer, which could be as simple features on your website. Features could be as simple as like an menu as a navigations or a product detail page, or you're redesigning a cart. How you could actually accelerate all of those development as part of combining multiple of those products capabilities, which comes as part of the Adobe Experience Cloud. Then I'm also going to jump into the data side of the things, because the journey is not complete without the data. Now, as part of the Adobe Commerce, you could have access, or you could integrate to like GTM or Google Tag Manager or the GS. But what I'm going to show you is how you could use some of our enterprise grade solutions like the AEP, the CJA, Adobe Journey Optimizers, and all of that. So let's get it started. I'm going to jump into a quick demo, and then we're going to come back into the deck again, and I'm going to show you what I have just shown. So let's start. So this is in front of me is a website, is a City Signal website, and the site is simply selling mobile phones and plans, right? So as soon as I've jumped onto the website, so as being a customer, I am on the market to buy a new mobile phone. So I jump into the phones category sections where, this is a simple, very traditional looking e-commerce platform. So on my left-hand side, I can see the facet navigations, then I could see the categories, pages, and all of that. So as being a customer, I was looking into multiple different phones. So the Samsung Galaxy is looking interesting to me. I go into the product, I check the product detail pages. These are all usual commerce related products informations, like your related products, your reviews, your detailed pages, and all of that. Then as being a customer, I'm not sure, so I actually go navigate back into the phones menu again. And as soon as I go back into the category listing pages, what I can see is a banner that just has dropped and saying that if I would be upgrading to the Samsung 22 Ultra, I could be actually opting for some additional bonuses and all of that. So that looks interesting. So I'm just going to go into the Ultra, add the product into my cart. And as soon as the product has been added, a notifications banner pops up. I can see the product has been added to the cart, and I can go into the checkout and complete the checkout from that point, right? Now, I want to take a pause into this point, and I just want to talk about how many touch points have you noticed actually as being of this very short journey so far? Okay. So, what you have noticed, a customer jumped into the website, they were browsing, they were not sure which products to buy for. Then they go into the product detail pages, came back into the category listing pages, and then they have shown a banner, right, and which they have the banner has promoted for them to go back into the product pages, gone into a couple of browsing again, and then added the products to the cart. So what's really happening on the background of all of that? Traditionally, if you'd be looking a commerce platform, even a couple of years back, a lot of the times when customers comes on your website, right, the mechanism of actually showing a banner, showing the relevant or the showing the right products, it sort of was a bit of a manual work involved, right? So like for an example, in this particular case, I would be browsing Samsung Galaxy, and you might have a related or cross-sales products. So lately, on in the Adobe, what we have been doing, we actually working a lot of the technologies which is actually driving all this customers' behavior based on and then we're actually reading all this customers' behavior into the machine AI, and then we are learning that and feeding that data back into the customer's storefront experience. So if I would be looking on my left-hand panel on this section, so if you can see there's a small icon, and if I'd be clicking on that, so this small icon is actually feeding all my interactions, all my single touch points, so every single actions that I have taken on the website, on the city signal so far, like going into menu, clicking on a product, going into the checkout, and all of that. So each of those events has actually been captured in real time and has been actually pushed into the backend, into the Adobe Experience platform, where the data has been collected, segmented, and has been pushed back into the platform to showing the right relevant content at the right time. So in this particular case, you have seen the banner has been displayed, which was coming from the A/B testing or the Adobe Target. And because I was browsing Samsung Galaxy, it knows that maybe I might be interested on that product, right? So on this particular section, I also want to talk about a little bit on the Experience Cloud ID or the ECID. So the ECID is an hashtagged ID. So as I mentioned that every interaction that a customer takes on the website, all those actions are actually tagged on a customer profile based on an encrypted hashed ID that has been created on the fly. And then that hash ID is actually gets mapped across multiple devices based on that customer interactions. So in my case, if I'd be just jumping into the data side of the products, now this is where I'm jumping from the commerce platform back into the data backend just to see how the data interactions is actually flowing through from my interactions in the city signal back into the data collection point. So I've jumped into the Adobe Experience platform, and as you can see, as I was browsing, it was collecting different hashed ID, and it has actually known intelligently based on my MAC ID, my IP, and all of that, and my browser cookie informations. So it knows that who am I and who is that person that's browsing on the site, and it has actually started developing all those mapped of my journey, which is all points to a single customer, which is me in this particular case. So what that really means for you as being a dev. Now, this question is more targeted towards if you would be working with an analyst, for an example. So in the analyst, in the when it comes to analyzing the data on the website, a lot of the times the analyst actually relies based on the data that is coming from the commerce platform or the events and so on and so forth. So what we have done is all those events, all this data now, because it's flowing into the data platform, right? So let me just jump into the audience or the customer segments we would like to call them. So what's really happening in this point at this point is all those different stream ID has actually been segmented into multiple different audience segments. So in my particular case, I can see that I have different segments of people who are interested in iPhone, or people who have been interested in Samsung, or if you link your platform with loyalty services, then how about the gold members or silver members and so on, right? So why is that important? It's important because you now that you have access to this vast amount of data, the way to actually utilize those data is you actually create segments into back on all those forms. Now, how is this segments actually gonna help us to deliver again performance back into the platforms of the website? Because based on the segments, now you can actually started creating specific customer journeys based on that specific segments. So on the commerce platform, we have actually completed a 360 angle on this. So the journey starts from the storefront, and then a customer gets tags in, and then the data flows into the experience platform, and then from the experience platform it actually goes back into the commerce platform. So that was a missing link you would be seeing back with, for an example, Google Analytics or the other tag management services. So on the commerce platform, now what you can do is, if I'd be jumping back into my commerce backend admin panel, so what you can see is this is just Adobe Commerce admin on the backend, and on my left-hand side system menu, I have two different services options in here. So I've got Commerce Service Connector, which really links with your live search, product recommendations, and other AI capabilities. And then we also have the Experience Platform Connector. So the Experience Platform Connector is the one who is actually taking the events, taking all this data and connecting the commerce platform with the AEP and all the data platform that we have just seen. So the integrations are really simple, right? You just simply dropped the data stream ID, the org ID, and as soon as you have done it, the system is actually gets linked. Now, again, because those data, those events are actually gets connected on the commerce platform, you can actually create customer-specific promotions or customer-specific events utilizing all the segments, and you can actually target each of those segments individually. Now, the I'm not going to go through the entire data products, but because on our platform, we actually streaming those data as part of the experience platform. So if you are using any other data products, for an example, the analytics, the customer journey analytics, or AJ or so on and so forth, you could actually utilize all of this data in a single point of view. So that's where the power lies when you actually creating experience or creating performance on the site with a very very small amount of effort in here. I wanna talk about now. I wanna stop this section. I wanna talk about a little bit on the content management side of the things. So what I want to do is I want to jump into my storefront experience on the content management system. So what I have in front of me is the commerce site, which you have just seen. So I've just taken one of the product pages, and then I have actually linked with my commerce backend or the Adobe Commerce storefront experience. So this is my this experience is actually powered by Adobe Experience Manager or the AEM. Now, why exactly I'm talking about this? Because on the traditionally the commerce, you could actually develop front end in multiple different ways, right? So traditionally we used to develop front end in a Luma, which is still there, which is like the your PHP on the back end, and then your storefront experience with your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that's still there. Then we have developed PWA, which is the progressive web app that actually gives you an app like experiences. And of course, we have seen on the market that our customers have created a lot of different solutions using React, Angular, JS, and their own storefront experience, right? So what I want to show you is another alternative to this, which is the Adobe Experience Manager. That's again is part of the Adobe Experience Cloud. And using this, how actually like it's super easy to actually develop this storefront experience which is connected on your commerce on the real time. So what I want to do is, let's say I just want to, let's delete this product section. So on my section, on my this side, you see there's a different components as part of that, right? So this is simply the concept is similar as to if you would be looking into the CMS in the Adobe Commerce, or you could drag and drop things. But with the AEM, you could actually do a lot more than that, because you could actually create product detail pages, product listing pages, your checkout, your cart, and all of that with a simple drag and drop functionality. So let's say I want to drop a product list pages, and then you can see that I have different options as an Venia Commerce. So let me select that, and then let's say I want to add a product list page in here. So it dropped me again a simple template in my case, which is a default template. And let me add a product lists in here. So if I would be going into category, again, all of these sections, as you can see, I am actually not in the commerce at the moment, but I am in the Adobe Experience Manager, working on my storefront, and I don't need to care about what's happening on the backend, because all the backend logics, the backend functionality resides within the commerce, and all this information's in front of me, I can actually see via GraphQL. So let's say I just want to add the fonts, and then add, and then I'm done and happy with that. So as soon as I've done it, you can see, it has pulled up all those product informations from the Adobe Commerce using the GraphQL to my Adobe Experience Manager in real time. So including informations like it starts with names, prices, even including my facet navigation, so on and so forth. You could even do things like, for an example, drops recommendations, drop related products, cross sells, upsells, checkout, whatever you can imagine. Now, why that's actually matters to you, because a lot of the time you actually invest heavily as part of your dev team is investing time on the developing a storefront experience. Now the AEM actually could actually help you to deliver that performance in a very quick turnaround time, because you as being a commerce dev, you don't need to worry about what's happening on the storefront that could be taken up by a different team. You could actually focus on your specific sections, right? Now, again, the questions would be how much time this integrations between the AEM and the commerce might take, and this is where it gets interesting, and this is where the power of the Adobe Experience Cloud lies. Because if you would be actually looking into developing your own front-end experience, for an example, or if you would be looking at off-the-shelf different front-end linking back to your Adobe Commerce, you would be looking a huge amount of time building those, and also the integrations. Because imagine there's a product upgrade, there's a software upgrade, and you have to upgrade and maintain the integration so that the data back and forth is very seamless. So the integrations between the AEM and the commerce is actually really simple. So what I have in front of me is that City Signal Commerce website, the storefront which you have seen at the beginning. And what I have done is simply, again, just dropped the GraphQL API endpoint. So once the GraphQL API endpoint has been dropped, it actually starts fetching the products, the pricing, and all these different data and informations into for your disposal for to be used in the AEM panel, right? So let me go back into my deck, and let's talk about a little bit what I have just shown you. Now, this is a very busy slide, so I'm not going to go through the whole boxes, but let's. I want to focus really into three things. So the first one is the Adobe Commerce foundations. Now, traditionally, if you'd be remember, again, going back into the Luma examples, that Luma used to be, your storefront and your back office, or the back end informations, or the back, the Adobe Commerce admins, everything was actually linked into one single packages, right? And then if you'd be making changes on your storefront, and that also gets connected with your backend, and if you'd be developing a new features, you need to roll out a new projects and things, you have to consider a lot of different things. And with being on a single package, that actually created some issues. So we have learned from that, and what the angle that now we are actually going through, we have actually started decoupling a lot of that thing. So what that really means going forward, your commerce foundation is going to be way lighter for you. So what that means is when it comes to times to upgrade your commerce platform, it's going to be much easier to upgrade because all of the service is going to be decoupled. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the AEM, which is I have just shown you. That's really your storefront experiences. Now, you could have your PWA, and your experience manager can also be linked with your PWA studio, or you could have your own solutions if you want. Now, you can see there's a middle blocks in here, which is the API mesh. Now, those of you who actually don't know, we have actually investing a lot into this space. So what we have done in last couple of years is, if you'd be remember, like GraphQL used to be the point where multiple different storefronts would be connected into your APIs. But over the time, what we have learned is a typical merchant doesn't use just one specific services. You could have your multiple different services connecting to your storefront or connecting to your commerce platform, and each of those actually produces different API endpoints. So you end up with having a front-end developer who needs to work with 20 different API points to design a simple single page, and that is actually really problematic. So we then have actually introduced the concept of the API mesh, and the API mesh, again, bringing that concept of the decoupling of the platform, it actually gives the power back to you as dev, because now you don't need to worry about 20, 30 different services. All you could be connected, all the services on the backend into a single layer, which you call API mesh. And then as being a front-end dev, you would be really working with a single API endpoint. So if you are developing your own front end, or if you're going with PWA, or if you're going with AEM, experience manager, it doesn't matter. You're actually going to be working with a single API. That's actually going to be huge lifesaver if you are building a front end for a long time. And the last one, I just want to reiterate back again the data side of the things, because we have capability into our data products, similar as our content and commerce products. So we have a lot of capabilities when it comes to analytics, segments, customer journey, behaviors, and all of those informations are actually connected with our Adobe Sensei, which is part of our AI capability, right? Now, again, traditionally, you would be looking into building all those integrations by yourself. That could be our enterprise solutions with our data, or it could be third party like the Google's, for an example. But we have taken that one step actually further, and we have actually done these integrations out of the box. So the experience platforms connector, which I have shown you, is actually gets connected from your back office to your data platforms, and all this data and back and forth actually gets really seamless. Having said that, the last deck is really back to you, is all those experiences that you are working. So as being a dev, so myself, I was actually being a dev for more than 10 years. So I understand that when it comes to developing an experience, developing a features on the site, sometimes it can be super time consuming, because you have to actually consider a lot of different, a lot of different things when it comes to delivery a simple solutions, even though it might look simple. So we have started going into the directions where we are actually decoupling a lot of those things, which it becomes much easier for you as being a dev. And we are opening up this whole new world with connections with the Experience Cloud, where you could be connected with your data, you could be connected with your storefront, or you could be even connected with your Creative Cloud to give you a much better set of tools that you could use to drive your day-to-day solutions. And from the extraordinary, it becomes to the everyday solution. Having said that, that's pretty much is the end of it. Is there any questions, Sherry?
Great. Thank you, Miraz. Let me just double check here and see. Looks like Okay, how many events are supported in the AEP connector, and do we need separate licenses for each product?
Yeah, great question. So from out of the box, it supports 12 events. So for an example, customers are browsing the product that goes into the category pages, that goes into the PDP, they adds product to the cart. So it adds 12 products out of the box. So you could imagine all those 12 products if you'd be working, in the GA in the past, Google, then, it's the tagging, it's a similar concept of that. So 12 tags are out of the box, but you could have your own tagging mechanism or even your own events on the storefront or the back office as you'd like. And all those data goes back into a single point. And as far as the license goes, if you are using one data products, for an example, if you're using Adobe Analytics, but you don't have the CJ or the other platform, that's okay. You can still use this connector to power up that data and enrich the solutions.
Great. I see another question here. Is there an integration between AEM and PWA?
There is one actually. The AEM actually provides an extension which connects with the PWA Studio again seamlessly using the same GraphQL API layer which I've just talked.
Okay, and it looks like this is the last one. I think you mentioned API mesh possibly, but can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so look, I think where it lies really, the power of doing this is actually going to become into two angles. So the first one, I can see it actually going to be greatly benefited the front end developers, because as you'd be actually going through, as I was saying, that multiple different APIs. If you're doing a headless solutions and if you're be relying on the back office APIs, so that's where the API mesh comes into play. Now, the second thing is the API mesh is actually supported by the Adobe Cloud. What that really means is you don't have to worry about, hosting all those, the performance, the caching, and all of that. We actually take care of all the heavy lifting for you. So if you'd be looking into linking multiple services into single endpoint and things about the performance, how it's going to be handled if multiple different front ends going to be connected to that. So all of that's actually going to be powered up by our cloud solutions. So you don't have to worry about what's actually going to be the lag time or if there's going to be any delay or any of that. So there's a tons of materials also on the online on the API mesh, and we can share some of those informations as well.
Awesome, thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our commerce developers today?
No, I think this is a really exciting, really exciting time for being a developer in Adobe Commerce. Lots of cool things is happening within Adobe. So stay tuned, and I'm looking forward to what a great future looks like with Adobe Commerce.
All right, thank you so much, Miraz. Appreciate you.